Russia's invasion of Ukraine enters its second week, and so far, more than 1 million people have fled Ukraine for neighboring countries. The United Nations estimates that number could climb to 4 million. Meantime, inside Ukraine, a handful of cities are without heat, and at least one is struggling to get food and water. A second round of talks between Russia and Ukraine ended without a ceasefire agreement. Both sides did agree to open humanitarian corridors for civilians to leave Ukraine. Now, in the middle of all this, one organization is helping to evacuate stranded international students. Sewa International is a Hindu faith-based charitable nonprofit. Its volunteers helped more than 3,200 individuals in the past 6 days cross Ukraine's border to reach safety. Vinod Pillai is one of those volunteers. In fact, he is the relationships coordinator for Sewa International Europe. Vinod lives in Germany, but is currently in Budapest aiding relief efforts. Vinod, welcome to Quicktake. I would like you to first just describe the evacuation effort and give us a sense of how it works, what it looks like.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Yeah. Sewa International has been helping to evacuate approximately 32,000 plus, more accurately, with different groups and individual efforts across different nationalities and across different age group, including students and also some old age people. So we have helped. We had requested. We had a helpline, and that helpline requested individually more than 10,000 requests. 10,000 requests we received for individual as well as different small groups or big groups. We have some groups which is with 200 students and so on across different nationalities. And we had about 250 volunteers. We were working around with 24/7 from different nations to go through different requests we received and give a timely answer to their queries and their concerns, and then giving a smooth transit of different people across the border.
So just looking at the numbers here, I want to give some context. There are about 500,000 migrant workers and international students living in Ukraine. About 80,000 of those are students, and my understanding is that about a quarter of those are from India. We were looking earlier at some pictures, some video of what looked like students in buses, and I understand Sewa is managing buses of students leaving Ukraine. Do the buses just drive towards the nearest border crossing? Where do they go to?
There are different efforts. We were coordinating some of the buses. It was not really Sewa International buses. There are some we organized, some we didn't organize through our local networks. So we had a lot of volunteers inside Ukraine in different cities. We grouped the requests that we received across multiple cities, starting from the east, Sumy, Kharkiv, and then coming to the middle area, the central Ukraine with the Kyiv, and then the south, in the western part, south with the Odessa, and the western side with Ivano, Fransvik, and Lviv. So we were creating approximately 14 different city groups. So we had multiple WhatsApp groups for each individual city to address the different specific needs that require in those cities. And the volunteers, we had some actual ground volunteers. They were managing some kind of food and accommodation arrangement for the people who are in transit. Like when the people are coming from, for example, from Pololta through Odessa, then we were making some arrangement, some food arrangement there, and then able to go to the western borders via Romania, via Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia.
Okay. There are also multiple reports, Vinod, that white Ukrainians are getting preferential treatment at the borders. They are getting priority over people of color who are leaving Ukraine, who are often students, the students that you're trying to help. The United Nations Refugee Agency has basically acknowledged the instances of different treatment and condemned discrimination at the border. Apparently, they're playing a role at the border. From where you sit, what kind of practical role is the United Nations playing here when it comes to making sure there isn't that kind of discrimination taking place anymore?
I think Sewa is all about bringing positivity, and positivity, that's the only thing that we are looking at. Racism exists. Especially in foreign students, there are some exception incidents of racism exist. exist. That is mostly due to the ignorance, miscommunication, and frustrations. So I think that is not the main point that we were looking at. So we are working across different nationalities. We also helped a lot of Ukrainians.
So you're saying
Ukraine.
Any discrimination that is taking place is not widespread. It's just here and there. It's pretty specific.
It's here and there. I mean, this is coming out of frustration, I think, and this is coming out of ignorance and miscommunication. I think this is that is not the main problem now. There is a humanitarian crisis there, and Sewa International is helping to address this humanitarian crisis through a positivity and then with the helping mind. And there are many volunteers came from different parts of Europe. I myself come from Germany. I live in Germany with my family. I'm currently in Hungarian border, and in Budapest, organizing and coordinating some of the relief and rescue efforts for Sewa International.
Right.
My family is there in Germany with 2 kids and my wife alone. So I'm living now I stay in Ukraine in different parts, border or in city. Yeah. So this is, it's not just me. We have approximately 40 plus volunteers in the neighboring countries coming from, for example, from Finland, from Norway, from Germany, from Netherlands.
Vinod, let me ask you for a final question here. There have been reports that some universities refused to move their classes online before Russia's invasion, despite repeated requests to do so. What has your group seen, and how did that complicate your planning efforts?
Yes, there is a case. I think, but the point, they were not estimating, or they were not thinking that a war will be arising at this point. Normally, those conflict has to be discussed on a diplomatic level and through dialogues rather than using the force. And Sewa International stands for peace, and peace should prevail. So that is our stand. The online classes were moved only at the very last minute, different universities and different batches, different times. And all those travel advisors from different consulates were not able to be executed in time because of some of that delays to assess that situation on the ground.
Right.
That remains as a fact. But yeah, everyone hoped that there won't be any war kind situations, and the peace should prevail through diplomatic dialogues.
Vinod, thank you so much for joining us today. Vinod Pillai is the relationships coordinator for Sewa International Europe.